Johnson, a man who spent nearly 3 decades behind bars, is now a free man. A judge vacated his convictions and the court approved his release last night.
WGN's Christine Flores caught up with Johnson, who talks about his first night out of prison.
Good evening. Johnson was smiling from ear to ear when we caught up with him today. He describes what his first time at an arcade was like and what it's been like to be physically surrounded by family members. While he says he's still adjusting to his new life, he says he still wants to work with those who, just like him, were wrongfully convicted.
I'm on top of the world. I feel amazing. It's unbelievable.
Those are Robert Johnson's feelings after walking as a free man from the Cook County Jail nearly 24 hours ago.
I was laying in the bed earlier, and I heard some noise, and it's the noise that you hear when they come through and count. In prison, and I like raised up, and I'm like, oh, they not counting. I'm home. I don't have to worry about being a number.
Johnson's first stop last night was Grandma's house.
She never left me. It was surreal to walk back in that house, because the last time I walked out of that house, that was the last time I seen that house for almost 29 years.
Johnson was just 16 years old when he was arrested in the 1996 murder of Eddie Binion. Just after 6:30 Thursday evening, Johnson walked out of the jail gates with family members by his side. They made a stop at Dave & Buster's.
Which is a first for me. I really had a good time. It was unbelievable. At one point, I just got up, walked away from the crowd, and just took it all in. It was a real moment for me.
Johnson was wrongfully convicted of first-degree murder, armed robbery, and home invasion. His defense says years ago, during the trial, there was no physical evidence or eyewitnesses connecting Johnson to the crime. A juvenile co-defendant agreed to a plea deal in exchange for his false testimony.
This kid was facing 80 years in prison and offered 15. And that's the only person to testify against Robert at trial. The evidence is incredibly weak.
There is an arresting officer that Johnson clearly recalls.
I remember him. He was the motivating force. They followed his lead, and he did it as if he knew he wasn't going to be held accountable. That's the way he moved when he rushed me out of my grandmother's house. I wish he can go to prison so he can experience what I did. It was real dehumanizing being in that place.
For Johnson, his partnership with the Exoneration Project is not done yet.
I would like to be a paralegal, maybe for the Exoneration Project. That's something I'm interested in. I'm trying to help people that have experienced the same things that I have.
Johnson does have a hearing scheduled for March 13th. It is then that prosecutors will say whether or not they will appeal the decision in his case.